I recently read an article posted by my pastor's wife. The article was written by a woman who went with several of her friends from church to begin a ministry in a strip club. I'm going to link the article below so that you can have a look at it for yourself and read what she has to say. In this article, she talked about all the wonderful things that they did for these women, how they interacted with them and developed real relationships with these girls. They even started encouraging them to hand out prayer requests so they could be prayed for. Something that stood out to this woman and to me in this article was that one of the girls from these strip clubs commented that the women who were ministering to them were not like the other churches. And what she meant by that was that the other churches had actually been sending them hate mail. This is something that's really close to my heart, so I'm finding it a little bit hard to talk about. I grew up in various different churches. Having grown up in a Christian home, we were always going to churches. We went to lots of different churches. So from that background, in some ways, hearing that kind of judgment and hatefulness coming from churches is not that surprising. But then again, as a woman, I find this quite appalling. As women, we are incredible people. We are vulnerable in so many ways in which men are not vulnerable, and yet we have so many strengths. We can be so determined and so strong and so available and always there for each other. We have so many strengths that really shine through in female characters. Thinking about all of these strengths and the way that these women in the strip club have been treated by the church has really made me stop and think about a few things. Recently, my husband and I have been in a pretty desperate situation financially, and we've had a lot of incredible friends supporting us through this time, and we've been able to support each other in that as well. And going through this at this time and then reading this article has made me really think about some things. As a woman, there's not a lot that I wouldn't do to protect someone that I love. And whilst I like to think that I would never take the step of working in a strip club, if my situation was different, if I had no husband, less supportive friends, and if I had a child to care for, it's hard to say for sure what I would do in that situation. In fact, one of the reasons why we have been so tight financially recently is that I actually quit one of my jobs, which was working in a shop that sold cigarettes and mostly adult-orientated giftware. I could have stayed to work there, but there were many reasons why I needed to leave. And since then, there have been opportunities to work in very similar places, and I've rejected them. This has been really hard, and it's been really hard to see us go downhill financially, knowing that I could have chosen to work in one of those places. I imagine this decision would have been a lot harder in different circumstances, with different people supporting us. As women, we know that we would do almost anything for the people that we love. Almost anything. And depending on how desperate we get, that almost anything can change quite drastically. Whilst I don't believe it's ever a right choice to work in a strip club, I don't believe that shaming people is the answer. In fact, if we think that it's wrong for a woman to work as a stripper, then filling her with shame and putting all of that shame on her is only going to make it harder for her to leave. Because as women, we have so much power in each other's lives, so much power to speak either death or life into a woman's life. And if we're filling her with shame, that only makes it harder for her to leave, because she won't feel worthy of anything else. Another thing that's come to my mind in thinking about all of this is that it's very easy for people to put all of the blame on women, and I've seen it happen in various scenarios, especially in the church when it comes to modesty and sexual immorality. A lot of blame is put on women. But I'd like to suggest an idea to you, and that is that if there were no men going to the strip clubs, there would be no jobs for those women. That's not to say that they had no part to play in their choice, but it is definitely worth considering that idea. Regardless of what drove those women to work in a strip club, the things that they suffer and they have been through as a result of that are oftentimes quite horrific and quite distressing, and they can cause severe long-term damage. If and when these girls ever get out of working in that industry, they often have a lot of trust issues, particularly towards men, and they wouldn't have a great deal of chance in rebuilding relationships with any men because they struggle to be vulnerable and to be open and honest with any other men. I think this area is something which we can all relate to. As women, I don't believe there is any woman in this world who has not been in some way touched by sexual harassment or abuse. In fact, just the other day as I was leaving a shopping centre, I was walking up the escalator, I was carrying all of my music gear because I'd just been playing, and a young man approached me, asked me if I was a musician, and then moved straight on to asking if I would have sex with him. Now, I don't dress immodestly, and I certainly wasn't looking for anything like that. Obviously I said no and I left, but that's just an example of the kinds of things that we face daily as women. We know how hard it can be to not walk down the street and attract perverted glances from the wrong types of people. Sure, there are so many good men in this world. I'm married to one of them and I know several, but I'm one of the lucky ones. Some women don't know any decent men, and I think that's a real shame, and it's really hard for them to know that some men are worth trusting. And as women, we know how hard that journey can be because we have to be careful of who we trust everywhere we go. Because of these things, I believe we can relate to these women in so many ways, and they are not these women, they're us. They're women. Together, we are all women, we all struggle with the same issues, we all have very similar strengths and weaknesses. Women need to stand together and encourage each other to rise above these problems and to rise above these situations that we find ourselves in, instead of shaming each other. This is something I'm really passionate about, and I have personally suffered from being shamed for very simple things and being harassed for no particular reason from people I don't know. I have been lucky in that I have not had any serious incidents of sexual abuse, but we all know that it's very easy to happen, and it can happen anywhere and anytime, and there are so many people out there who have no respect for women and no respect for our right to safety or our right to our own bodies or our own minds for that matter. And as women, we should be standing together and encouraging each other and leading each other to new levels of dignity and trust and vulnerability in healthy ways. I recently joined Unique, and they have a mission statement which I'd like to read out right now. Their mission is to uplift, empower, validate, and ultimately build self-esteem in women around the world through high-quality products that encourage both inner and outer beauty and spiritual enlightenment, while also providing opportunities for personal growth and financial reward. This mission statement resonates with me a lot, and I imagine it will resonate with a lot of you girls as well. It's so important that we work together to uplift and empower each other as women to become better people, not to become people that are bitter towards men or towards the things that have been done to us, so we don't become victims, but instead we rise above it. And we can't rise above it if we're working against each other. One of the ways that you can help to support and uplift women who've suffered from sexual abuse is to actually buy makeup from Unique, and if you use my link, I do get a small percentage of the price that you pay for that makeup, but the majority of it actually goes into their Unique foundation, which I'll talk about in just a bit. The other thing about their makeup is that it's actually really good for your skin and really good for your health. If you've watched my last health video, you would know that this is really important to me. I believe that our health is very important from the outside and the inside. But most importantly, the support that Unique gives to women who suffer sexual abuse, either in childhood or adolescence, is so incredible. By buying makeup from them, you actually, most of the funds from that goes towards allowing girls who suffered sexual abuse to go on a retreat where they are encouraged to learn how to heal themselves from the inside out. If you want to know more about that, you can click the same link. It takes you directly to my website where you can either shop or you can do some research into what Younique does and what their mission really is. Alternatively, you can direct message me or leave a comment about any questions that you have or any info that you'd like, and I will contact you personally and talk about it. Now, this is not a video just to guilt trip you into buying products from my website, not at all. In fact, if that's how you feel, I don't want you to go there and buy anything. I only want you to buy makeup if you wear it, firstly, but also I only want you to go into this and support Younique and support me through Younique if you're passionate about this, if you're passionate about supporting other women through their trials and helping to uplift and empower them. If you agree with the mission statement that I read to you and you wear makeup, then this is a great place to buy it from to help support that. But that's not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because I'm really passionate about women. I'm passionate about healing ourselves from the inside out and healing ourselves more than physically. My chronic illness in the past has obviously been a very physical problem, but I have also discovered that a lot of it is very, very rooted in emotional problems and emotional healing that needs to take place before I can get the physical healing. And I have a really good understanding of just how valuable healing is in every form, and I think it's so important that we all work together to help each other heal in more than just the physical sense. And this is just one of the ways that I'm taking a stand with women to help us have full healing from the inside out. Thanks for watching. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, and you can also hit subscribe if you are keen to see my next video, which is going to give you 7 tips for making your period easier to cope with. So thanks for watching.